All right, today we're going to give you a quick run-through demonstration on the DTF 30H2. In case you haven't been around our machines before, DTF indicates what kind of product it is. 30H2, 30-inch machine with two heads. This machine has two of the i3200 heads in it, one dedicated to color, one dedicated to white. 30-inch film that we run through, which you can print about 28.5 inches of. We're going to be doing today is printing some samples that we actually are using for a mailer we're doing. So we always like to try to get as much mileage out of our time together, so might as well print something we're going to be used and give you an idea of what it's about. I've already got the machine set up with the film run through. We've done some printing a little earlier. As you can see, it's actually been fed through the dryer and it's already hooked up to the take-up reel. If you were doing this from start, you would actually get it printed, get it through the dryer, and as it comes out, you put some tape on it, hook it up to the take-up reel. The take-up reel itself actually has a clutch on it. So when I turn on the motor, it's actually just slipping. It'll take the film as it's fed to it by the dryer. Up here, as you can see, we got our ink bag system, got our CMYK. We actually have a cleaning solution, and then we have our white ink. The white ink is the one that's got the nozzle there on the top. That's because we recirculate our white ink. It goes around, comes back up, and it pours into the top. By the process of it trickling down into the bag, it's actually mixing that white. And as long as you leave the machine powered on, it is going to continue to do that on a cycle, even when you're not printing with the printer. These bags are 1 liter bags, so you don't have to worry about changing them very often. You see the light system on them. Those are just a general indicator. They're not exact, but as you go through, you go from a green state to a yellowish state, then you go into a light purple state, and then you get to the fatal error state, which is 0, which is red. You should be able to see the bags, but it at least gives you an indication if you could look up, okay, I need to get a bag of black ink, let's say, sitting here because I'm into the yellow mode. All right? We've already set up our artwork, done some nozzle checks on the machine. And here we have our powder. This is our POW dryer, which means that it's a manual recirculation. I have right in there, I have my powder. You can't see it, but I'm grabbing it from over here. I have a loud drawer. Sorry about that. And this is the powder I'm cycling back in. And the nice thing is underneath of this drawer, there's a secondary sub drawer. That secondary drawer will catch the powder, so I don't have to stop all the motion to keep the powder from falling through, because it's falling through into another drawer. You'll periodically dump that one as well. What I've done is already I've turned on this ramp on the front of the dryer. Up here we turn this on. What this does is it starts the ink to gelling before it comes down here. We put the powder on. It has a lot of positive effects. Number one, make sure that we don't have too much powder sticking to the ink, which is going to give us a softer hand. Number two, it helps us to, believe it or not, get a better coat of white and glue so that we don't have to worry about as much bleed through, especially of polycolors, onto our prints. And lastly, it's going to evaporate a lot of that glycerin out of the ink, which is what sometimes, if you've ever gotten prints, you have a little bit of an oily feel to it. That's the glycerin that's migrated back through. We try to evaporate as much as that off before we put the powder on and run it through the dryer. Powder's up top. We have powder in the loop that's in here and hooked up at the back. I've got the dryer set to the proper temperature for the dryer, the ramp set to the proper temperature, and there are two other things that we're going to set on an auto mode. We have an auto mode on the belt. What's going to happen as the printer prints, that loop of film that you saw down there drops down. As it drops down, it's going to trip a laser. When that laser's tripped, it's going to make the belt start running. So obviously now we have the dryer pulling the film away. We've got the printer advancing the film, and the printer's going to continue moving at the speed it moves at. The dryer's a little bit faster than the printer, so as the dryer catches up with the printer, that loop comes back up, it trips that laser again, and it turns the dryer belt off. Cycle just continues until we're done. Secondarily, we're going to set our powder release to pulse periodically so that we continue to keep powder on the film instead of it running dry on it. So we start to find out that it's starting to run a little bit more, using more powder than we anticipated. We just can increase the frequency of that, or just do a manual dump, have it just run until we turn it off and go back into auto. Other than that, we've got software set up. We've got plenty of videos we'll show you of how to set up software. We've got these samples set up. I'm going to go ahead and hit the print button, get it started. This job that I'm doing is just under 10 feet, and I have 51 images on this we're getting ready to print for about $24. You can see we're starting to put our color down now. And then very shortly you start to see the white ink going down on top of it. The white head, there you go. The white ink and the color heads are separated by a little bit. We're about 5.5% through. I actually have a counter over here on the display panel. I'm going to show a number of things. Get them to zoom in right here. Status, obviously we're currently printing. The margin, this is the space off the edge of the bed to where the edge of the print area is. So it's not the film itself, it's from where the print head can start printing to where we actually want it to start printing. It's 45 millimeters. We're in fast speed, bidirectional, and we've got the feathering is our control on the dithering of it, and we've got that on a low mode, which is generally fine on this type of artwork. We're 11.28% way through this print of 51 images. The powder clean, which is basically it's a flapping device that runs and beats the back of the film after the powder's been applied, and that knocks any excess powder back down into that loop of powder we have down at the bottom, recycling the powder. It also gives you a really good clean so you don't have any excess powder either on the film or too much on the ink. While the printer's printing, a couple things I'll point out about it that kind of separate it from the marketplace. Number one, the printer has a crash protection system. These hang off the right and left sides of the head carried. Should something happen that something would get in the way, whether it be film popping up, you drop something in there, if you're foolish enough to stick your hand in there, whatever it is, that crash protection is going to get moved, which will stop the print head, I mean right now, like it hit a wall. So you don't have to worry about anybody getting hurt, you don't have to worry about damaging print heads as much. So huge thing, and then you have the ability in the software to go in, tell it you recognize that it's been done, and then you have the option to reset and start printing, or reset and cancel the job, and then fix everything you need to and get it back to position. If it's a film strike, sometimes you need to go just cancel the job and restart it. Another thing we have is, as I mentioned, we were talking about the ink bags earlier. We got the CMYK colors, we have the white, then there's another cartridge that has a solution in it that we use for flushing. And what that does is there's a rip in there's a separate app that you get that allows us to go through and we can individually flush head, we can individually flush colors. And what it does is up here underneath the head carriage, there's a switch that allows it to control whether it's drawing ink or it's drawing that flush solution. So when I go and do a flush, I can literally only flush just the ink from there in the damper and through the print head and out the cap top. So let's say you're going away for an extended period of time, you don't want to empty the whole system out of ink, you can go through, flush both heads completely in a matter of minutes, right? Minimal loss of ink. Wet cap it, turn the machine off, you're good to go. Or let's say you're having some challenges with one of the colors of your ink, you can go through and physically flush that color, all right? Once you've done that, go ahead, reload it, send it back, reload it with ink, and hopefully you will resolve any issues, might have been any face clogging or anything like that you have on the print head. Nothing else like that in the marketplace. So we're printing right now about 45 linear feet per hour at 2.5 feet. Do the math on that, right? 30 inches. You're right in the area at 45, so you're about 67 square feet of printing per hour. That's a lot of prints in a relatively short period of time. And by having the 30 inch, what we've found It allows, we have a lot of customers who do really big designs, but you also have customers who have these designs. These are 9-inch designs. We had 6 inches of film, and I can get half again as many prints on as I can on 24-inch film. All right? So there's some benefits to this that maybe aren't initially evident. When you start looking at the width of the prints and the film, having that extra 6 inches of film can make a big difference. People who want 12 by 12 prints, you can only do 1 across on a 24. On this, you can do 2 across and still have about 3 or 4 inches that you can use on that side to do neck tags, chest prints, and whatnot. Big, big difference, less waste of film, less creativity needed in the setup of your artwork. We're getting there about 97% done. What we're going to do is we'll take and show you the next steps. This is running through, and show you what to do with the print after you're done going ahead and pressing it to a shirt. Righty, then we've got a shirt here. One of our, this is our 16-inch press. For a lot of designs, this is going to be fitting. We also offer a 20-inch version of this. Most presses you're going to find on the market are either 16 by 14 or they're 20 by 16. I'm going to go ahead and put the shirt down. This one's pretty flat, but you can, if you want, you can just do a quick pre-press. Just hold it down, not a lot of pressure. Just try to get it ironed out. This is the part where I ask all of our fans in TV land to not be judgmental, because I'm not the greatest at centering up, but I will try to center it up about right. Position, and by the way, if you're as challenged as I am and you're doing this for a living, they do sell laser positioning systems you can put on these, which is really helpful. Going to close it, medium to heavy pressure, 10-second first cycle at 300 degrees on cotton. You can go as low as like 260 on polys and play in between there. Nylon, we generally do it that way. We'll go to like 260 to 65. Instant peel. Finishing sheet of your choice. This one is just a simple parchment, which we sell on Coleman & Company. You can get. Do another 5 seconds. Pop it. We've got a finished product. As I was saying about when you're doing the pressing, we sell the parchment, you can use Teflon. We sell what are called a T-seal, which is really nice. It gives it kind of a feel of a screen print. We have a rubber type of gray rubber sheet that will press. It'll give it another type of texture. You can use one of our finishing sheets. There's a lot of different options for different solutions you do. This is probably the least expensive of the consumables. If you want to use parchment, but whatever you prefer. If you want a shinier print, use Teflon. But there you go. That's printed, ready to rock and roll.